Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NFL Fantasy Live. I am Marcus Grant. That is Michael F. Florio. That is Adam Rank. And as we say hello to you, we say goodbye to the preseason, our final preseason show of the year, because next week it's live. We are into week one, but it means a lot of folks are doing drafts this weekend. How many drafts do you have this week?
I have a draft every day from Saturday through Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah,
wow.
A lot of drafts.
All right, how about you?
About 12, yeah. Still going strong. Listen, still going strong. This is a big weekend for it. Saturday, I got a couple of drafts. Sunday's my League of Record draft, and we have another one. Cynthia, the DiPaolo brothers, and I in a league on Monday. There's a lot of things going on here, Marcus.
A lot of things going on. If you want to be a part of the things going on, all you got to do is go to NFL.com/fantasy. You can sign up for a league. It is for the low, low price of free. Get your friends, get your family, get people you don't even know, come in and join and play some fantasy football with us or, with other people, whatever. Either way, we're doing a lot of drafts. You are probably doing drafts out there, and that means you probably have players that you are targeting specifically. We do as well. So we're going to go through the guys that are our guys for this draft season, the ones we are trying to get in as many possible leagues as we can. And so start us off, Florio. Who is your guy at quarterback this year?
I've talked about him a lot already, but I want all the Jaden Daniels I can get this year. I love quarterbacks who can run. Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, all of those guys. But Jaden Daniels is just the cheapest of them all, so he ends up being the one that I wait on and get the most of. His last 2 seasons in college, he ran for over 2,000 yards and 21 rushing touchdowns. Cliff Kingsbury helped make Kyler Murray a QB1 as a rookie. I think Jaden Daniels is next, and I love pairing him with like a safe quarterback like someone like Jared Goff.
It's so funny because everybody's excited about Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray himself. I'll just go. At the end of last season, he was on fire, 17-plus points. In 6 of 8 games, he has averaged over 20 fantasy points per game throughout his career, which would be the 4th most by a quarterback in NFL history. Right now, he's coming off the board right as the quarterback 10, right there in the 6th or 7th round, and that's it didn't really start this way as a plan, but it's the way it just kind of unfolded as the drafts have gone on. So I love grabbing as much Kyler Murray as possible.
I do love Kyler. The guy, though, that I am targeting a lot is Lamar Jackson. You might notice a theme with these quarterbacks. We love the guys who can run, and this is arguably the king of the running quarterback archetype. Has averaged 50 or more rushing yards per game each of the last 5 seasons. That's an extra 5 fantasy points per game for you. But last year set a career high in passing yards in the first season under Todd Monken. They add Derrick Henry, which I think only makes this offense a little bit more potent. And the way I've done builds in my drafts, it tends to be that I'm about ready to look at a quarterback right about the time Lamar Jackson is coming off the board. So we're going to talk some running backs now, and I'm going to be selfish and keep talking and tell you that my guy for this year is Raheem Mostert. And for me, it's a lot about the value of where Mostert is coming off the board. You see that there, the RB25. You're getting him several rounds later than Devon Achane, but either way, you're getting a piece of a really potent offense there in Miami. We're talking about a guy who scored 21 touchdowns last season. Like, okay, maybe he doesn't score that many touchdowns, but still in line to have another big year. I don't think he's as old as his age suggests because he spent a lot of time early in his career not getting a lot of opportunities. So I'm in on Raheem Mostert. I would much rather take the shot there than have to pay up and get a Devon Achane in the 3rd round or so.
Yeah, I have a lot of Raheem Mostert just because of price this year. I also have a ton of Isaiah Pacheco, and I know everyone is souring on him because they signed Samaje Perine. I lowered him in my rankings from RB4 all the way down to RB6. I'm still extremely high on Isaiah Pacheco. We know he dominates the groundwork there. No running back had a higher percentage of their team's rushing touchdowns last year than Pacheco, and they're hopeful that Perine could play in the first game. I still think if Isaiah Pacheco takes those next steps as a pass blocker like I think he can, that he could set a career high in targets this year on the best offense in the NFL. So give me all the Pacheco in round 2.
I am shocked every time I do a draft that I see Travis Etienne falling and tumbling in drafts. Last year was the running back 3 with no real competition there. I don't think that Tank Bigsby is going to come in and play enough of a role to deter me from ever taking Travis Etienne in a team that should be better this year. I think when you have Brian Thomas Jr. there to stretch the field, they got a good middle of the field covered with Evan Ingram, that Travis Etienne can go out there and do some work. So at the end of the 2nd round, whenever I get one of the top picks in the draft. I always have Travis Etienne following me to the second round, and I love taking him there.
I do want him to catch more passes. He did it so well at Clemson with Trevor Lawrence. I feel like they don't use him enough in that regard. Would love to see more of that this year. Speaking of guys who catch passes, let's talk some wide receivers. And Rank, who are you specific? Oh, there it is. I think there's a clue.
Drink it in right there. Roma. Oh, wait, I got to stand up. There, thank you, Dan. Roma Dunze. Number one, I can now name my fantasy team Sublime with Roma Dunze. But also, when you look at the way the Bears are constructed right now, obviously they're shying away, or fantasy enthusiasts are shying away from Roma Dunze because of the competition with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and everything like that. But by the end of the season, Roma Dunze is going to end up being the go-to guy for the Chicago Bears. We've already seen the chemistry with Caleb Williams, the tremendous pass, and everybody talks about the play at the back of the end zone. He didn't get his foot down. The biggest key for me in that game, the Bears had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. It was this play right here. This is how they chose to kickstart the offense. That led to a field goal drive, and then eventually they set for a touchdown on the following drive, going into halftime with 10 points. Roma Dunze is going to be the Bears receiver to have this season.
Yeah, me and Marcus were texting during this game, and we were like, Rome greater son Keenan Allen this year. My guy, though, sticking in the NFC, give me Deontay Johnson. He is still an elite separator, but last season he had the 3rd highest rate of uncatchable targets. The Panthers went out and upgraded their O-line. They upgraded their play caller, bringing in Dave Canales, who has helped revitalize the Seahawks and Bucks in the last 2 seasons. Plus, Bryce Young last year was good when he was not pressured and he had open wide receivers. They are going to go to Deontay Johnson a ton this year. I believe he will finish as a top 20 wide receiver, and you see there, you get him barely inside the top 40.
Well, I'm going to stay in the NFC South, and I'm going to go with Drake London as a guy I'm trying to get in as many spots as possible. We talk about the quarterback situation, but to put it into perspective, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, bottom 2 in uncatchable target percentage in 2023. Now you look at Kirk Cousins, he was second best in that category. Despite the poor target opportunities for Drake London, he still had a exceeded his combined expected catch rate in his first 2 seasons. Still averaged 70 catches, almost 900 yards in an offense that was still one of the run heaviest in the league. Now, I think they're going to open some things up with the quarterback situation there. I think the ceiling only goes up, the floor goes up too for Drake London this year in Atlanta. So let's get to the tight end position, which is very top-heavy, generally speaking. But for you, Florio, who's the guy that you are targeting specifically?
Look, there's 3 tight ends I want, and I feel like we're going to talk about them all right now. But the number one guy, not just that I want, in all of my tight end rankings is Trey McBride. And I know having him as the tight end 1 might seem like a hot take to some, but last year he literally was the tight end 1 in points per game and target share when Kyler Murray returned. And of all the top 10 tight ends last year, he had the fewest percentage of his fantasy points come from touchdowns. With Kyler being back and all of us expecting this Cardinals offense to improve, I think there will be more scoring opportunities for Trey McBride. So given all of that, the target share, Kyler, more scoring chances, he is my tight end 1. It seems like a hot take now. I'm not so sure it will come January.
Dalton Kincaid has been my guy, and yet I have gotten him in just 1 draft so far this season. It always seems like I'm missing out on him, but I anticipate a huge year out of him. The big thing, obviously, there's 200-plus targets vacated from Buffalo. I think Kincaid ends up being the most targeted guy in this offense. And every time I present this case, people come out and they're like, what about the Dawson? And I'm like, what about him? In the final 3 games last year, both guys were on the field. Dalton Kincaid was outscoring him. Even though Dawson was getting touchdowns, Dalton Kincaid was getting the targets and the yards. Touchdowns being way too volatile. Give me Dalton Kincaid.
So we are contractually obligated on this show whenever we talk about tight ends to mention the name Kyle Pitts. And so I will fill that obligation by telling you I love Kyle Pitts this year. I know a lot of us do. Again, we have the quarterback upgrade situation there. We have a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, guys that will presumably use Kyle Pitts to his greatest strengths. This is a guy who had a 70% catchable target rate last year, which was lowest among tight ends. But he also had over 1,000 air yards, most among the tight ends. Now you get a quarterback that can actually sort of connect with him downfield, and I think everything gets a whole lot better. I know that across, I think, the fantasy industry, we have all sort of put our chips back in on Kyle Pitts this year, figuring it's the perfect storm of opportunity, and the fact that he's finally healthy after some nagging injuries over the last year.